Hello there, World of Tankers. Welcome to the channel. Hopefully all of you are doing well out there. I'm, of course, your host, Blitz, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about the Tier 9 auto-reloading Italian medium tank, the Standard B. Now, this is a vehicle that I've always enjoyed playing. It's got a Tier 10 gun, an extremely strong gun at that. It's able to deal 1,050 potential clip damage in a matter of 6 seconds, which, when you think of this going up against Tier 8 opponents, is insanely deadly. Not to mention, this vehicle carries high explosive shells. The high explosive plastic shells deal 400 average damage per shot, and they have 116 millimeters of pen, meaning that if you have the sides or the rear of pretty much any mediums, you are easily going to be cutting through the rear of lightly armored heavies like a Chieftain Mark 6, a T110E5, E3, E4, easily cutting right through that armor with the HE, and as well dealing 400 average damage with 1200 in that clip. You've got 10 degrees of gun depression. This tank is also very mobile. It's able to go upwards of 50 kilometers per hour forward, actually 58, 23 in reverse. Really, it's just such a good tank, but there are a couple limitations to it. The biggest one is the accuracy. .326 isn't the best, and when you combine that with the not so great DPM of 2235, the biggest issue is missing shells. If you miss a shot in this tank, of course, you are not only crippling your damage per minute, but at the same time, you're trying to continue to burst out shells because you're an auto-reloading vehicle. Now, I personally love the auto-reloading playstyle because what you're able to do is not only shoot an enemy opponent once. You know, let's say you're in a normal medium, let's say a leopard. So you're in your leopard prototype and you shoot the CDC once. Well, what's going to happen is, of course, the CDC is going to shoot you back. Or, you know, anybody, they would want to push you after you've shot, of course, because you don't have another shell. This tank not only has the ability to every 9.5 seconds load in a standard shell for 350 damage, but as well, it stacks shells. So while you're sitting AFK, or not AFK, but while you're patiently waiting for your damage to stack, just like the Progetto 46, this vehicle becomes deadlier and deadlier every single shell, which is making it, in my opinion, one of the strongest Tier 9s in the game by far, and even capable of fighting Tier 10s quite easily. So as you can see, in just 1 second we'll have the clip loaded, and there is one shot into the Chimera, and of course I'm going to aim in some more shells if we can get them out. Now I will say, there are a couple issues with this vehicle. The biggest one, of course, is armor. It has literally no armor whatsoever. We got a Chimera coming up behind us as well, which is going to suck, but it's not the worst, at least. You know, we're able to back up. Let's slam a shell maybe into the CDC. Just reload. There we go, finishing off the AMX CDC. We did lose about 600 health, but it could have been way, way worse. Now, the big thing here is I want to reload my clip, because the clip reload is bad, you know? It takes a long time to get the shells out, and then once you've gotten them out, it takes a while to load them back in. So we're going to sit here. We're going to reload 2 shells. There we go. There's one shot into the Chimera. Let's back up. Unfortunately, he was still able to get a second shell into us, but we, of course, have that standard shell reload. So what's going to happen is we're going to out-reload this Chimera with the standard shell and finish him off right back to the garage, which then we're able to just kind of do ring around the rosy, hopefully. I don't want to be shot, of course, by the enemy AMX-1, or the 1-er. So, as well, we got the, ooh, this is not super fun, is it? We're just going to make our way down, because that's away from that butter stuff over there. That was, I wanted to say a word, but we're not allowed to say that. Not, ooh, we got very lucky. Repair the track, repair the track. We're fine. 2 health, still kicking. That's, of course, what makes this tank as well so strong, is the ability to survive really, really tricky scenarios. Now, I don't know if the K91 is planning on poking, and it looks like he is, which is good and bad. You know, we were able to get a shell out, and thankfully that T-32 just narrowly missed us. I actually tunnel visioned a little bit too much there, and he could have been able to take us out, but we actually are doing a-okay. Now, our team is currently capturing the base, which means that we're doing quite well in the base capture, and hopefully that's going to get vehicles like the Lerva to push up. Let's get 1 shell into his turret, maybe a second shell out, reload. There's a second shell. Let's even maybe get a third. I don't know. It's actually quite tricky what we're doing right now, but we're still getting out really, really nice shells. We've done 3,812 damage in this game so far, and we're going to continue to hopefully rack out that damage. A nice Hess shell or an HEP. I don't really know exactly what you call the shells, but nonetheless, a nice shell going into the enemy tank. Let's aim 1 shell as well at the rear of the T-32. There we go. Lighting him on fire, 528. The great thing is that since my team is capturing the base, I don't have to worry too much about the, you know, no, ooh, nice shot from the E75 there, finishing off the enemy. But because my team was capturing the base, they didn't actually go for me, and they wanted to stop the base capture, which was great, because that means I was able to survive the battle, and not to mention we were able to do over, what, 4,000, almost 5,000 damage. That's incredibly strong for a Tier 9 medium. There you go, 4,687 damage. Now, I definitely played that very reckless at the beginning. I lost hit points, and unfortunately, I thought that Chimera was just kind of going downhill, but then he kind of came back up. A weird move from the Chimera. It worked on the long run for him, I guess, but as well, we were able to not only shoot him twice, but then shoot him again after we unloaded the clip. It's really such a nice vehicle because you're having that flexibility of not only having a clip, right? You've got the ability to shoot somebody for 1,050, but then after you've lowered their entire HP pool, you kind of just reload a standard shell, and you're going to continue to pump them out every 9.5 seconds. And that is why I find this even just as good as some tier 10s, is because of the ability to get out such nasty shells. And unlike the Progetto 65, the standard B actually has the ability to shoot HEP shells, which the Progetto doesn't. It doesn't have any special HE penetration, where this vehicle does, which in my opinion makes it just the whole bit stronger. Now the enemy team is, as I bit my own words here, we're pretty much in an all tier 10 battle. There's only 2 tier 9s we're up against, and both of them are extremely deadly. The T92 one, of course, has that big alpha, and as well the Ag Tiger's got insanely strong damage per minute. Now this tank struggles on a certain little set of scenarios. One of them is DPM. If a vehicle with DPM is rushing you, of course you're going to fall apart, but the big issue with this vehicle is that it has literally no armor. The turret is a paper bag. The hull is a paper bag lit on fire. Like, every shell fired at this vehicle will most likely penetrate, which is not great, of course. That means that after I shot the C100 and I'm detected, I'm actually worried that if I poke that, I'll probably be shot, which I don't want to do. So we're going to wait here a couple seconds. Now we can maybe poke it. We'll see if we spot anybody crossing. It doesn't look like there actually is, though. We've got the grill and the Yagara Taigaru off to the side there. We've got the eyes for the Mark 6, everybody pushing as well. It seems like our team's doing a decent job. The VK90 lost a little chunk from the grill, most likely, but we're going to try and make our way straight through this side. If that Vickers is going to distract them, I'm going to wait for that Vickers to kind of pop up behind him. If that Vickers does a good distraction, I should be able to make my way off to the side here and maybe get some shells into the rear of the enemy opponents, which would be very, very strong, of course. And that's exactly what we're hopefully going to do, is come up behind vehicles like the Yagata Tiger and the Grill 15 and get some big ol' shells out. So let's see if we can do that right about now. Oop, there's the T92, actually. Let's go for a track wheel shot. That's perfect because we're going to track him once again and go for that track wheel one more time. Oh, Hesh, actually. Oh, sad. I'm really sad that that one didn't penetrate. But nonetheless, we still took off about, what, 700-ish hit points from him there? That's a really, really solid amount. And then again, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait for my clip to reload, and then we'll pull back out once again. Now, we got the standard, or not the standard, but the T92 over here. Let's aim in one Hesh shell on the side of him. If he wants to poke it again, that would probably be his downfall more than mine, because we get to reload shells while he is sitting stagnant, just kind of reloading one standard shell. So I'm just going to do that. We're, of course, going to wait here another 3 seconds before we get all of our shells loaded in. I'm not sure if that T92 is going to try and poke it, but we'll find out in just a moment. However, right now, I'm going to try and come up behind the enemy opponents, like the Grill 15 here. If we can get some big shells out, this is going to be very, very beneficial to my team. So there you go, finishing off the Grill. We also got, like, the Yag off to the side. Let's get one shell into the Yag, because, of course, the 4005 does not have a turret, meaning that he can't shoot me, of course, if I get to his side. So, yeah, we'll get one shell loaded into the 4005, finish him off, and now we can make our way over to vehicles like the enemy E100. Don't want to be hit by him, though, of course. That's a huge amount of alpha riding on his vehicle, but as you can see, we not only use the HE shells on this tank very well, but at the same time, we're just slowly reloading our clip once again here. The C100 backing up the wall is kind of being a doof right now, which means that we have the ability to play very, very aggressive if we play this correctly. And there we go, we got our whole clip loaded. Now, we got the T92 on our rear, and unfortunately, we don't have gun depression over the booty. However, if we, well, I was going to say if we turn it, we should have gun depression, but doesn't look like that matters too much. Now, in a couple seconds here, we should be able to shoot at the C100. There's one miss, but we got plenty more shells to fire down. There's 2 shells, and let's aim in one more at the side of his turret. There is the 3rd shell coming into him. The first one didn't penetrate, but again, it doesn't really matter too much with this vehicle because you have the opportunity to fire more than one shell. You couldn't have done that, and the scenarios that I pulled out in the standard B, you probably could not have done in any other tier 9 medium. It's just such a strong tank, and I absolutely feel that this tank can, even in a tier 10 battle, as you saw here, perform just as well as any tier 10 tank if you play it correctly. Now, of course, that can be said for any tier 9. If you play correctly, you can do just as well as a tier 10, but this tank not only carries tier 10 penetration, but it carries the same gun pretty much as the Progetto 65. This was literally 2 games I pulled out, just a simple game as you can see here, and it's such a strong tank. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you want to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. But other than that, hopefully all of you are doing well out there. Stay happy, stay healthy, and to be seeing you in the next one.